This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jenna. I love to crochet plushies, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. For today's video, it is going to be part 2 of how to start your own crochet business. If you missed part 1, I will link it down below, or I'll put it right here in the corner. And part 1 goes over all of the pre-work that goes into starting a crochet business. So branding, pricing, selecting your plushies, inventory, time management, fees, etc. That is all covered in part 1. In part 2, we are just going to be talking about the step-by-step process of actually opening up an Etsy shop and then listing your first item for sale. So I'll walk you guys through the process. I'm gonna share my screen, and yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful. With that, let's get into today's video. Okay, I'm going to open up my laptop and kind of talk through live with you how to set up a shop, because I can't think of a better way to set up the video. Just a forewarning, so I'm gonna be looking down a lot. Maybe editing Jenna can make me into a little circle, but okay. Let's get into it. So first I wanted to just show you guys what my Etsy page looks like. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not gonna hide any of my stats. So this is the all-time stats for my shop. I opened my shop last year in January of 2022. And it looks like I did get a pretty good amount of views, visits, orders, and revenue. Keep in mind, everything that I'm sharing with you guys today in this video is literally the steps that I took to open my Etsy shop, open my crochet business. I know I get a lot of questions from you guys asking for tips and tricks, and these are all my tips and tricks. This is literally how I did it. But okay, before we start from scratch and before I open up a new shop and show you guys, I just wanted to call to attention, this is kind of what the back end of Etsy looks like as a seller. You have your dashboard, so you'll get to see all of your stats up front, and you get to toggle what time frame you want to look at. So if I wanted to just look at today's stats. Okay, and then let's go to listings. This is where you have all of your listings. And as you can see, I have a bunch of patterns. It will tell you how many you have in stock, when they expire, because an important thing to point out is when you list something on Etsy, the listing does not stay up forever. It does expire after a certain amount of time, but you can set it to auto renew if you'd like. And then over here, I'm not going to show you messages, but Etsy has a really great messaging system where you're able to talk directly with your customers. And that's a big feature that I love about Etsy, especially if you do commission pieces and if customers want things customized. The messaging feature really is awesome. Okay, and then we have our orders and shipping tab. I'm not going to show you this either just because it has some of my customers' personal information, but that's where you'll be able to track all of your orders. And then you have a few other things, stats. You'll be able to see kind of a breakdown of everything in terms of visits, orders, conversion rate, revenue. And I think down here it can tell you how shoppers found you. And this is actually a really helpful snippet of data, because this shows me that Etsy brought in 43% of my visits, and then I brought in 60% of my visits. So had I not been selling on Etsy, I would only get around 57% of my visitors to my shop. And that is just for today, or no, this is just for this month. Let's see it of all time. It looks like 50-50, wow, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. I think it definitely pays off again to be on Etsy, because Etsy brings in a lot of traffic. As you can see, the Etsy search page alone brought 22,000 shoppers to my shop. And then as you can see over here, I brought in 16,000 people from my social media, so it's definitely interesting to see. I just wanted to take a quick pause from the video to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform that allows you to create beautiful professional websites, engage your audience, and literally sell anything online successfully. One of the best things about Squarespace is that you don't need any coding background to build a beautiful website. They offer thousands of professional templates that you are able to then customize with their drag and drop system, so you can get your website exactly how you want it. Another great feature that Squarespace offers is that you can open an online store. And what I love most is that you can sell both digital and physical products. So if you are a crochet pattern designer such as myself, you can sell both your physical plushies and your digital patterns. And then lastly, if you go to a lot of in-person events and sell at markets or pop-ups, you can get a Square Reader, and that will allow you to sell in person, and your inventory will sync across your online store and your in-person sales. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/crochetbyjenna to receive 10% off your first order of a website or domain. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video, and with that, let's get back into it. Okay, so now let's set up our own shop, all from scratch again. Okay, so let's head to Etsy's homepage, and now I logged out of my shop, so let's try to create it from scratch. I would scroll all the way down to the bottom, and down here, you see this column, it says sell. I would hit sell on Etsy. And then let's see, get started. Next, we wanna sign in to Etsy. Okay, so now I officially registered for shop, and it will say like, welcome, and let's kick this off. It'll ask you a few questions about like why you want to sell on Etsy. I'm gonna say I'm just starting to sell for the first time. And then specifically, if you want help with anything, you can check one of these boxes and Etsy will actually give you some helpful insights. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna skip. All right, and now let's go through with opening up your shop. All right, so now we're doing a bunch of the admin stuff. So shop language, shop country, shop currency, the name of our shop. So back in our pre-work session, type the name here that you picked out for your shop. I'm gonna say this is Clay. I'm gonna say Clay by Jenna because I like literally have been thinking about making clay items, or maybe I should say ceramics. Okay, yeah, just for fun, I'm gonna say ceramics by Jenna because low-key, I've been like seeing so many ceramic stuff on my page. I'm getting inspired, but okay, save. And now we are gonna create our very first listing. Oh my gosh, so it's super easy to fill out your own listing on Etsy. Another great thing about Etsy, it's very user-friendly. It does not take a lot of like technical knowledge. So first you wanna upload pictures. You can upload up to 10 pictures and then 1 video. So I definitely recommend getting all the different angles to your pictures, using natural lighting, and you don't have to use like a professional camera or anything. Like I use my iPhone and it always turns out great, so you don't need like a fancy camera or anything. Just make sure you take pictures in natural lighting because I feel like that will just help the quality in general. But okay, let's add a picture. Let me see, what do I have on my desktop? Okay, I'm just gonna pick a random picture, you guys. So I just picked a picture here. Honestly, the more pictures, the better. So if you have more pictures, customers will always love seeing more. So definitely upload as many good pictures that you have. But okay, here we go. For this example, I just uploaded 1. But now down here, you can adjust the thumbnail. And this is how customers will view your listing. So you know, when you search something on Etsy, you see all those little square pictures and those are called thumbnails. So you can adjust that thumbnail to make it exactly how you want. Maybe I want it a little zoomed in, so here you go. Okay, once your thumbnail's saved, you can scroll down here, you can upload a video. Videos are also really, really helpful for customers. I know as a customer myself, I love seeing videos of the product. So definitely throw in a video if you have it. And then down here, this is where we start filling out our listing. So the title, we want to use some good keywords. So definitely try to explain your item in depth. So let me see, I'm gonna say crochet triceratops, whoops. Crochet triceratops plush, and then kind of like add on to the description. Because think about like when people are searching your product, all the different variations that they would like type to find your product. So crochet triceratops plush, stuffed animal, amigurumi. Did I spell that right? Amigurumi. I always misspell amigurumi. I'm gonna say like baby, dinosaur, and yeah, like literally filling out the title. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always edit it later, but I just like to like think about like how customers would word it and then like include all of those like keywords. And then just say like who made it, I did, what is it, a finished product, when did you make it. You can, if it's not made yet, you can say made to order, or if you did make it recently, you can select, you know, the time frame that you made it. And it's important to note that you need to fill out all of these fields. Like Etsy wants you to make sure the listing is all filled out, so don't skip over any of this. Okay, category, I'm gonna say crochet, and I think, yeah, Etsy has their own little section, so here we go. amigurumi. It'll be under toys, stuffed animals, and plushies, amigurumi. Perfect. So starting down here, all of these fields are optional. I definitely recommend filling them out though, because like I said earlier, Etsy definitely rewards sellers that have listings like completely filled out. So I'm gonna say primary color in this case is green. There's no secondary color. For occasion, I'm not gonna do it because it's not relevant, but if you were selling like a plushie with like a birthday hat, you can put like birthday. For holiday, I do like to list the holiday that is closest, because when people search like Halloween plushies, your item could come up. So I'm gonna put Halloween. Okay, so here's the renewal part. Usually your listings last up to 4 months, or until it sells out. You can automatically have the listing renew, which is what I do just because I don't want to run the risk of not realizing a listing got taken down and then it stays down for a while. So I always do automatic. And for each listing, it costs 20 cents. And then of course, for each listing that gets renewed, it's another 20 cents. But if you prefer it not to automatically renew, and maybe you're just like testing out this listing, it won't stay up for that long, you can say manual and you will automatically renew it yourself. And then for type, is it like a physical item that you are shipping out to a customer, or is it gonna be a digital product? For us crocheters, I know a lot of people sell patterns, so Etsy makes it easy for you to sell like digital files as well. But I'm gonna say physical here since this Triceratops example is a physical product. And then for description, okay, for your description, I think it's really important to like have a few things. Definitely the dimensions, so height, length, width. I would say the materials that it's made out of. So in this case, I would say it's made out of chenille yarn. I would also like to add like a little cute line about it being like the perfect gift for someone for like a birthday or holidays. And then you can talk it up a little more if you want. I know for my listings, I always give my plushies a name. I'll say like, hey, this is Dino the dinosaur, and he is like 5 inches long by 2 inches wide by 4 inches high, and kind of give him like a personality. I'm like, he's looking for his forever home. I just kind of have fun with it. You can also look at other crochet listings and kind of see like what other sellers say in their description. But with that being said, please do not copy anyone. If you look towards other sellers and their listings, just use it as like a reference point, use it for inspiration, but like never straight out copy them. And then down here, I would say the things to fill out would be the tags and the materials. So tags, this is kind of like keywords that people will use to find your listings. So it's definitely important to put like relevant tags. So I would put like dinosaur, Triceratops, stuffed animal, gifts, and you know, you get the point. And the materials, I would say chenille yarn. And then down here, we're gonna fill out the price. So price is like a whole nother video. I still struggle to this day to like set the correct prices. I'm gonna list down below in the description a few tools that I use that help with pricing. But usually a good rule of thumb is how long did it take you to make? What were the material costs? And then how much do you want to pay yourself? And by kind of like taking all of those factors into play, you can come up with a price point. I will say if you're just starting out, you kind of want to stay competitive. So you don't want to price yourself on the higher end. I would price myself more on the lower end, but still make sure you're able to be profitable from it. Make sure you're not like losing out by selling this plushie at like $10 because it took like $20 to make it. So for this one, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like $35. And then quantity, for made to order shops, I usually set my quantity at like 10 just because I know that I have the materials on hand to make 10 if someone were to come in and like order all 10. But say you're doing a drop or you just don't have that many materials on hand to make 10, you could list it at like 2 or 3. And then again, you can always go back and like update these numbers as you see fit. And then SKU, I never really fill out. That's more for just like organization. Okay, variations. This is what you want to do if you want to offer customizations for customers. So for example, for this dinosaur, if I have purple yarn on hand and I can make purple dinosaurs, I could list it as a variation. So I'll click variation. Then you can say what color variation you want. So for example, I'm going to say purple. So there's going to be a purple option. And then I'm going to add in the green option. And then over here, you can say like prices vary for each primary color. So if you want to charge more for a certain color, you can. And if you want the quantities to vary for each color, you can say that as well. I'm going to say the prices are going to be the same, but the quantities would be different. So then save and continue. So then here you have your 2 different variations and quantities. So I'm going to say for purple, for green, and then if you want to link a specific photo to each variation, you can go ahead and do so. So for example, when the customers select the drop-down box and they hit green, this picture will show up on their end. I don't have any other pictures, but if I did, I would select a purple one, then save. And then down here, personalization. So this is only used if you want to offer customizations beyond like what you fill out already in the variation section. So I'm gonna hit yes. And this is kind of what I did when I first started. I'm gonna say, please type what color you'd like your triceratops to be if you don't already see the color listed as an option. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like if a customer wanted like a pink triceratops, but they saw I only offered purple and green, by having this personalization section on, it will give customers the ability to kind of tell me what they want. And then as you can see over here, this is what they'll see it. It'll say like add your personalization, and then you'll see what I wrote here, and then they can type like, oh, I'd like pink. And I'm gonna warn you, I only do this because I usually know I have all the colors on hand, but if I don't, I would not like offer this option. Okay, let's talk about shipping now. I get a lot of questions about how to fill out shipping profiles, how to calculate shipping prices, etc. So if you use Etsy, it makes it super simple. So right here under shipping prices, I always leave it as calculate them for me, because that way Etsy will automatically calculate for you the shipping prices based off where the customer is located, and then also the dimensions and weight of your package. So I'm gonna leave it like that. For origin zip code, this is where you'll fill out where you are shipping the packages from. This will help Etsy calculate accurate delivery timeframes. Okay, so processing times. This is what I was talking about earlier in this video. Definitely be more generous when setting this, because you always wanna bake in more time for yourself, just in case. So Etsy says, how much time do you need to prepare an order to put it in the mail? So here you can say 1 to 2 days, 1 to 3 days, 3 to 5 days, 5 to 7 days, or custom. I personally use custom because then you can select the specific amount of days or weeks. So I like to set mine at 1 to 2 weeks. But if you're just starting out and you have your inventory already set, you can maybe list it as 5 to 7 days. Okay, where you ship. So I get a lot of questions asking like, how do you set up international shipping? So again, I sound like a broken record, but Etsy makes it super easy. So the default is that you can ship to the United States and worldwide. So if you click worldwide, you'll see here that Etsy makes shipping internationally a breeze. Costs are automatically calculated based on the buyer's country, and they got us covered on customs too. By default, all of these countries are checked off, and we can expand it a little, but like there's 28 countries that we ship to in Asia Pacific. Australia, there's 27. Europe, there's 53. So on and so forth. If you want to exclude certain countries for whatever reason, you can go ahead and edit it directly in here. But by default, I just like leaving them all checked because I can ship internationally to any of them. However, if you do want to limit yourself to just shipping to the United States, if you're United States based, or if you're based somewhere else and you just want to select your home country to ship in, you would just go ahead and deselect all of the other categories and countries, and then just make sure to check off where you want to ship to. So for example, if I want to just ship to the US, I would uncheck literally everything else and just put US. Okay, for shipping services, this is where buyers can choose like what kind of shipping they want. So like usually it's like priority shipping, first class shipping, ground shipping. Usually I think buyers tend to pick the cheapest, but if they do want it rushed, they can go ahead and select priority. I never really touched this feature, so like let me see if we hit edit. Yeah, here we go. So there's priority, priority express, first class mail, etc, etc. So I would just keep all of those services checked, especially if your customer is paying for shipping. I mean, it's just their personal preference. The only time I would say to edit this is if you're paying for shipping and say you don't want to offer priority because that's more expensive, I would go ahead and like uncheck that. And first class mail is usually the cheapest through USPS, that and ground. So I would just leave like first class checked. Okay, then going down to the free shipping option. So back to what I was just saying, if you do want to offer free shipping, you'll get the little free shipping badge on your listings, and it definitely will entice customers more because who wants to pay for shipping? So it's super easy. If you want free shipping on your listing, just click free shipping for domestic, orders, or if you want to go the extra step and offer free shipping internationally, which is very expensive, by the way. So I just want to make sure that you guys know up front that like international shipping is usually like $25 plus for like the minimum like lightest item, like from what I've seen. So just be careful if you want to offer international shipping. But yeah, you would just simply click one of these boxes if you do want to do that. And then handling fee, I actually don't use it, but now reading the description, I feel like that would be nice. So basically this fee is added to the buyer's shipping total and they won't see it separately broken out. For tariff number, Etsy actually usually tells me like what tariff number to use when I am processing an order, so I wouldn't worry about that. And then down here, the item weight and the item size. This is super important because if you have Etsy calculate your shipping fees, this section needs to be 100% accurate. If it's not, your customers will either overpay or underpay for shipping, and then that comes back at you. Okay, so usually when I make a plushie, I make sure to jot down the plushie's dimensions and the weight. That way, when I go to ship it, I know exactly what I am working with in terms of the dimensions of the box that I'll have to use and the weight. So for the Triceratops, for example, I know I can put that in a 6x6x6 box that I have on hand. So I will go ahead and put 6x6x6. For the item size when packed, that's just not the item dimension itself, but like the actual dimensions of the packaging. And then for the weight, I already pre-weighed it, so I know that it is 6 ounces, but I usually like to round up just to be safe, because if you do underestimate this, I've had to like pay more in shipping later on, so it just doesn't work out. All right, and then down here, you can see that Etsy will show you a preview of the shipping price. So if your buyer lives in Chicago, oh wait, let me go uncheck, sorry. So if your buyer lives in Chicago, they'll be paying $4.70 for shipping, and then you can toggle it. If they live in Los Angeles, they'll pay $4.94, etc., etc. And yeah, so super nice that Etsy gives you that little preview. And then last thing before we publish our listing is you want to set up a return and exchange policy. So Etsy has a simple policy where buyers can exchange or return within 30 days. And as you can see, all the bullet points here that have the policy written out. Or you could create your own policy. I usually do stick to like the simple policy that Etsy has, like buyers can return or exchange it. But if you prefer that they don't return, then you can go here, create your own policy, and you can say, I want to accept returns. You can toggle it off. And if you don't want to accept exchanges, you can toggle it off, and then you can save. And now your policy is no returns or exchanges. Okay, and that basically wraps up all of the things that you have to fill out to list something on Etsy. Now, I know that seemed like a lot, but the nice thing about Etsy is once you fill out a listing, you can always duplicate it. So if I'm trying to sell, say, a T-Rex dinosaur versus a Triceratops dinosaur, I can copy this listing I just made for the Triceratops and then tweak a few things like the title, the description, etc., and update it for a T-Rex. So you don't have to necessarily do this from scratch every single time, especially if you sell similar items. So I'm gonna go ahead, save and continue. And then bang, you're done. You did your first listing, congratulations. So then it shows you a little preview of what it's gonna look like. And then you have the option of adding more listings, or if you wanna skip that, save for later, we'll say do this later. Okay, so now we need to input how you're gonna get paid. You can select the frequency of how you wanna get paid out by Etsy. You don't need to necessarily hit a certain threshold. You can set the frequency in terms of like getting paid weekly, daily, bi-weekly, and you just need to enter your bank information. I'm gonna stop here in terms of like setting up your shop and doing the walkthrough because now we're getting into the more technical like bank information, billing information, and security. But we definitely hit on the important points of like setting up the shop initially and setting up your first listing. Okay, and now we are in the last part of this video. This is where I'm going to briefly go over some tips and tricks. I also have a separate tips and tricks video on my channel, so I'll link it down below for you guys if you wanna really see a deep dive into all of my Etsy tips and tricks. I also did a Q&A video that touches upon some tips and tricks too, especially in terms of like social media growth and like how I found my aesthetic, etc. So definitely check out that video too. I know this video is a little chunky, but I really wanted it to be thorough for you guys, especially if you're like brand new to Etsy and don't know where to start when setting up your own shop. But okay, so tips and tricks for growing your Etsy shop. My number one tip for getting sales is to use Etsy ads, especially when you first start out. There's so much competition when you first start your shop. You have like no reviews, you have no reputation, you're brand new. How do you get your stuff out there to viewers? Etsy ads. Okay, next is to market your plushies and your shop on social media. So TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. It's really important to build like a reputation on those social media platforms because that's like spreading word about your products, that's building your reputation, and it's really helping get more eyes on your product. More eyes on your product will definitely translate to more sales. My next tip is to run sales on your Etsy shop, especially like during the holidays. So like Labor Day, run a Labor Day sale. Black Friday, run a Black Friday sale. People love seeing things on sale and are more inclined to buy things if on sale because you're saving money. So definitely run sales in the beginning. I definitely ran sales like all the time when I first started out, and it definitely helped my shop gain traction and have buyers actually like check out and buy my stuff. Next, I would say keep adding more products to your shop. Have a variety of plushies that you offer. You never know what plushies people will like best, so definitely just try your best and put as many variations out there. Have dinosaurs, have turtles, have chickens, and really just see what your customers like. Like I said earlier, definitely offer customization. I feel like this is something that not a lot of sellers do, so it will definitely help you stand out, and also it will give your customers exactly what they want, and that's basically what customers are looking for in the end. And then my last tip is to really pay attention to the analytics that Etsy gives you. Etsy will tell you like how many views your listings have, how many favorites, how many people purchased it, the conversion rate. Pay attention to the listings that do really, really well and start pushing those products more. So if like bees are your top seller, start coming out with different variations. So like chocolate bees, Valentine's Day bees, Halloween bees, etc. And then if you have a listing that's not doing well, for example, like say chickens aren't doing well, stop selling them and replace them with like a different item and see if that sells better. Etsy has really powerful analytics, so definitely take advantage of that. But okay, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found this helpful. I am so excited for all of you to embark on your own crochet business journey. I love seeing all the comments saying that I've inspired you guys to start crocheting and start selling your plushies. It is an amazing journey, and I wish you guys all of the best. I am here if you ever have any more questions. Feel free to leave a comment down below on Instagram. I usually try to respond to all of my Instagram DMs, so definitely don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!